This is Thomas and Jennifer. Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into Norse mythology today.
Oh, yeah.
But not just any story, no. We're going deep into the tale of Idun and her apples.
Fascinating story.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
These are the legendary fruits that grant eternal youth to the gods. Now, think about it for a second.
Yeah.
What would it be like to live in a world where gods rely on magic apples to stay young?
Right.
I mean, that's Asgard for you.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What happens when that source of youth disappears?
Well, what's fascinating is how this myth goes beyond a simple good versus evil story.
Right.
You see, the gods, for all their power, have this critical vulnerability, their dependence on Idun.
Right. And that vulnerability kicks our story into gear.
Exactly.
It all starts with Odin, Loki, and Anir on a journey through Midgard, the realm of humans.
Yes.
And it seems they forgot to pack snacks and stumble upon a herd of oxen.
Okay.
Roast beef coming right up.
Here's where the magic and the trouble begins.
Oh,
They can't cook the meat.
really?
A chilling cold descends despite the midday sun.
Huh.
Clearly, there are forces beyond the ordinary at play.
Yeah.
And that's when a giant eagle swoops in.
Oh, no.
Now, this is no ordinary bird.
I was going to say.
This is Thiazi in disguise.
Wow.
So already you see the tension brewing between the gods and the giants.
And this Thiazi, he offers a deal. They'll cook the meat if they hand over Idun's apples.
It's a pretty steep price.
Now, Loki, ever impulsive,
Of course.
tries to take on the eagle,
Oh.
ends up stuck to its back,
Oh, no.
dragged across the landscape.
Ouch.
I bet that taught him a lesson about picking fights with giant eagles.
Well, Loki's impulsiveness is really key here. He's always acting first, thinking later.
Yeah.
And it constantly lands him and everyone else in hot water.
Yeah, he does not think things through.
No.
So that impulsive streak really sets the stage for everything that follows.
It really does.
So, true to his nature, Loki makes a deal he can't keep and cooks up a plan to trick Idun.
Uh-oh.
He spins a yarn about a magical tree with apples even better than hers.
Oh, wow.
Knowing her kind heart and eagerness to help,
Playing her. Yeah.
they cross Bifrost, the burning rainbow bridge.
Yes.
You know, not just a connection between realms,
Right.
but a symbol of the god's power.
Exactly.
Which is ironic considering it's used to deceive Idun, right?
Absolutely. That betrayal is central to the story.
Yeah.
And Thiazi, he's not messing around.
No.
The moment they reach Midgard, he swoops down, snatches Idun, and carries her off to Thrymheim,
Oh, wow.
his fortress in Jotunheim, the land of the giants.
Just like that.
Gone.
She's gone.
Yeah.
And the gods, well, they start to age.
Oh, no.
And not gracefully.
Oh,
We're talking wrinkles, gray hair, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, dear.
But it's more than skin deep, you know?
Right.
Their minds start to fade, forgetfulness sets in, they become irritable,
Yeah.
their strength dwindles. It really hits home how crucial those apples were.
Right.
Not just for eternal life, but for their very essence as gods.
This is where it gets really interesting, this vulnerability.
Yeah.
You see, on the surface, it's about aging. But on a deeper level, it speaks to the precariousness of power, even for gods.
Right.
They need this magic to function. They're dependent.
They're definitely not invincible.
No, they're not.
The severity of the situation dawns on them.
Yes.
So they call a council.
Okay.
And naturally, they soon figure out that Loki's at the bottom of it.
Of course.
And trust me, they are not
I
happy.
bet.
They confront him. And fearing for his life, Loki spills the beans and agrees to rescue Idun.
Oh.
Talk about pressure.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have the gods consumed with fear and decline.
Right.
And then there's Loki still scheming, using the situation to his advantage.
Yeah.
This is classic Loki, manipulating his way out of trouble.
Yeah.
He promises to save Idun, but in return, he demands his freedom. He always has an angle, doesn't he?
He's a master negotiator, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But for this rescue mission,
Yeah.
he needs help.
Okay.
Enter Freyja,
Ah.
the goddess of beauty and love.
Yes.
Who even she is showing signs of age without those apples.
Right.
Really drives home the widespread impact of this crisis.
Yeah. Loki needs her falcon skin to fly to Jotunheim, the land of giants. I mean, talk about a hostile environment.
Freyja's willingness to hand over her falcon skin, despite her own suffering, is pretty remarkable.
It is.
It speaks to her compassion, her sense of duty.
Right.
She's willing to risk herself for the greater good.
So picture this Loki, in disguise,
Okay.
is about to embark on a daring mission to the heart of giant territory.
Wow.
To retrieve Idun and those precious apples.
Yeah.
And of course, it's Jotunheim,
Right.
not exactly known for its welcoming atmosphere.
Oh.
This is where things are about to get really interesting.
This sets the stage for a high-stakes chase filled with danger and uncertainty.
Yeah. Will Loki, with his penchant for trickery, outsmart the giants and return Idun safely to Asgard? This is a question we'll delve into in the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Okay, so Loki, disguised as the Falcon, arrives in Jotunheim.
I bet it's not all ice sculptures and snow cones. What's this Thrymheim fortress like?
Think imposing. It's this harsh, wind-swept fortress perched atop a jagged peak. You can practically feel the icy breath of the giants in the air. Not exactly a place you'd want to get caught in, especially if you're a god disguised as a bird.
Yeah, no kidding. But does Loki just strut in and demand Idun back? I doubt it.
Well, he catches a lucky break.
Huh.
Thiazi is out on a fishing trip with his daughter Scotty. This gives Loki the chance to sneak in and find Idun, who's understandably distressed by the whole ordeal. But getting her out of a giant's fortress, that's a whole other challenge.
Knowing Loki, he probably has some crazy plan up his sleeve. Maybe he challenges the guards to a game of riddles.
Or turns himself into a giant flea.
Or perhaps he turns himself into a giant flea and hops away with Idun. He goes even weirder than that.
Really?
He uses his shape-shifting powers to transform Idun, get this, into a nut.
Wow.
A tiny, inconspicuous nut. Then he clutches this goddess nut in his talons and takes to the sky. I mean, can you imagine the sheer audacity of it?
A nut. That's classic Loki. So he's flying away with Idun as a nut, but Thiazi can't be too far behind, can he?
Not at all. Thiazi gets back, sees Idun is gone, and immediately knows something's up. He's furious. He throws on his eagle skin and takes off after Loki. Can you picture this chase across the frozen wastes of Jotunheim? A falcon clutching a nut, desperately trying to outrun a giant eagle?
Talk about a high-stakes game of keep away. The imagery is intense, but isn't the eagle much faster and stronger than the falcon? How does Loki stand a chance?
That's where Odin comes in.
Oh.
Remember, he's got that all-seeing eye keeping tabs on everything? He knows Loki's coming back, and he knows Thiazi is hot on his tail. So he instructs the gods, even in their weakened state, to gather wood shavings and pile them high against Asgard's walls.
A wall of wood shavings against a giant eagle. That doesn't sound too intimidating.
What's Odin thinking?
What's Odin thinking?
Trust me, it's brilliant.
Okay.
As Loki and Thiazi approach Asgard, Odin gives the signal. The gods set the wood shavings ablaze. A wall of fire erupts, cutting off Thiazi's path.
Whoa, that's unexpected. So it's a fiery showdown at the gates of Asgard. What happens next? Does Loki make it?
He does. With a burst of speed, Loki, still in falcon form, soars over the wall and into Asgard. He escapes the flames by a hair's breadth.
Wow.
But Thiazi, blinded by rage and focused on the chase, doesn't react in time. He crashes straight into the inferno.
I can practically hear the sizzle. So Thiazi's down, Loki's safe. Idun is a nut. This is wild.
Picture the scene. The aged and anxious gods gathered around as a singed and smoldering Thiazi crashes within Asgard's walls.
Okay.
Despite their weakness, they manage to overpower and kill him before he can recover.
Wow, talk about dramatic timing.
Ah.
Thiazi is vanquished, but Idun is still a nut. Does Loki even remember he turned her into a nut in all the chaos?
Oh, he remembers. He sheds his falcon disguise, stands there amidst the gods, and he laughs. He mocks their frailty, basking in his own cunning. Then he focuses on that little nut in his hand, whispers some runes, and poof, Idun is back, restored to her youthful glory.
It's amazing how Loki pulls off these insane plans. So crisis averted, Idun is back, the gods are saved. Happy ending.
Well, Idun, ever innocent, starts offering her apples around, but there's this lingering unease. Loki might have saved the day, but he's still a trickster at heart. That mocking laughter, it doesn't exactly inspire trust.
Yeah, there's definitely a what's he going to do next vibe. A triumphant return, relieved but aged gods. And at the center of it all, Loki. He's a tough one to figure out, isn't he? Is he hero, villain, or something in between?
That's the question, isn't it? This resolution, on the surface, looks happy, but it brings up a lot of questions about trust, about deception, about how easily power can shift. It's these complex layers that make this myth so compelling.
So we've got this wild tale. A journey, an abduction, a daring rescue, a fiery showdown.
It's a lot.
It is. It's enough to make your head spin. But there's more to this story than just thrilling events, isn't there?
Right. It makes you think, doesn't it? The story of Idun's apples goes deeper, touching on big themes like mortality, vulnerability, and what happens when ambition goes unchecked.
Let's talk about Thiazi for a moment. I mean, he wanted to stay young forever. Who wouldn't? Can we really blame him for trying?
That's the question that makes the Smith so fascinating, you see. Was Thiazi justified? Was he just trying to survive, knowing that even gods wither without Idun's apples? Or was it a purely selfish act, a giant grabbing power without a thought for the consequences?
It's tricky, right? On the one hand, you've got the constant tension between gods and giants. Maybe Thiazi saw this as evening the score, a way to gain the upper hand.
Exactly. The story highlights that complex relationship, a mix of rivalry and this strange interdependence.
Yeah.
They need each other,
Right.
but they're also in constant competition.
And then there's Loki. He's the mastermind behind the whole mess. But he's also the one who brings Idun back. Is he a hero, a villain, or something in between? It's hard to tell.
That's the brilliance of Loki's character.
Yeah.
He's this master manipulator,
Well,
always looking out for number one. But often, his actions end up helping the gods. Even if unintentionally,
Right.
he embodies that duality you often find in Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Even the trickster god has a role to play in keeping the balance.
It's what makes these stories so captivating, right?
Yeah.
It's not black and white, good versus evil. There are shades of gray, mixed motives, outcomes you never see coming.
Absolutely. And that's what makes the tale of Idun's apples so thought-provoking. It challenges us to think about morality, about choices and consequences, about how to balance individual desires with the well-being of everyone else.
So what can we take away from all this? What does this ancient myth have to say to us today?
I think it's a powerful reminder that even the most powerful beings have weaknesses, that unchecked ambition can lead to disaster, and that our actions, even those with good intentions, can have unexpected and far-reaching consequences.
It also shows us that these myths aren't just stories, right? They're reflections of human nature, the challenges we face.
Right.
Even if our challenges don't usually involve giant eagles and magical apples.
This deep dive has only scratched the surface of this fascinating tale,
Yeah.
and the rich world of Norse mythology has so much more to offer.
I hope you'll explore further. Uncover more tales of trickery and heroism, love and loss, gods and monsters. There's a whole universe of captivating stories waiting to be discovered.
As you delve deeper, consider this. How do other Norse myths explore themes of trickery and cunning? What do these stories reveal about how the Norse people saw the world and understood human nature? I think you'll find it quite enlightening. Happy exploring.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening.